We were not breathing on our own yet, but our mothers were here as campers, and we arrived a few months later. But Marietta beat me. She's older than I am by 9 days. So some of us have grown up at camp literally, both as just kids of board members, of committee members, of volunteers who helped establish the campgrounds, and then coming back as campers later on, and coming back as junior counselors and Bible teachers and missionaries. So it's been a joy, and I liked your word. Today's been a glorious day, and we give God praise.
Amen.
I just think of how many of those early leaders would be astounded, would be delighted to see the grounds now, to see the development, to see the programming that has continued, to see that it's still Christ-centered and Bible-based and gospel-focused. And we commend the current staff and the current board. About a few weeks ago, I had the chance of meeting with Mary Bauman, Ken Bauman's widow. She's in Swiss Village in Bern, Indiana. And I told her about the 75th anniversary coming up. And she would just love to have been here. She accepted the Lord and gave her life to Christ here. Also, in the auditorium, on a rainy night, when the campfire had to be moved in there, she yielded her life, surrendered her life. She had her life set to be a professional artist. She had her art training in mind. The Lord got a hold of her. She ended up, of course, later meeting Ken Bauman and spending many years in India as a missionary. Another man that would love to be here is Norman Geisinger, who just turned 100 years old in February. He's a resident of Menno Haven in Chambersburg. And he, my dad, and Bob Landis, and Freeman Swartz, and Dave Clemens, and we could go on and name a whole bunch that came through the briars. This was an old, overgrown farm that had briars and thistles and brush. It was not the mature woodland you see now. That's not why Walter Landis gave it away. It was valuable land. He got it because he was a tax collector, and during the Depression, the owners of this farm, it went into foreclosure, and he decided to buy it at the sheriff's sale and give it as a property for the young people of the churches of the Eastern District, and as a place where Christ would be honored. But Norman Geisinger is still living. He was one who came in here and helped lay out where the lane would come in, where the dining room would be. The Obershell was the next building. Wilhelmina Cabin was the first of the girls' cabins to be built by First Mennonite Church, Philadelphia. And, of course, the rest, it was starting with tents and a tent instead of the auditorium. And Dave Clemens from South Zion Mennonite learned that the Moorwood livery stable was to be torn down. He spoke for it, moved it. It's now your auditorium. He also built a snack shop, and he was a stone worker and plastered it in 1952. And I was there when plaster was still wet. And my initials are still on the back of it. I look today, they're still there. So, but along with Mary Bauman, but several years after Mary dedicated her life, the Lord also spoke to me at a campfire in the auditorium through the same pastor, J.J. Planner from Grace Mennonite, Lansdale. And I was too shy to respond to the gospel there. I waited till I got back to the Harvella cabin. And I didn't count to 10, but I waited till all the lights were off and yielded my life to Christ. Later to Christian service, to missions. My first practice preaching was in the chapel in the woods when Dad was draining pipes for the winter season. There wasn't a soul around, and I had 3 squirrels converted. Meadowland's a special place, and may God continue to use it for for many more years until he returns. They have remained Christ-centered. We have lots of other memories and stories that you can come back next year with them.
Amen.